Hello everyone! Thank you for joining for this video. It is quite early in the morning and I thought it is about time to make some voiceovers of my recent projects. So here I am sitting in front of my computer and talking to a microphone. Today's project was about two different things. First of all, I want to test out if it is possible to make a acrylic pour over a structured background, and for doing so I'm going to use modeling paste, and this is the small gray bottle which you can see in the middle of the screen. You can just use a palette knife or something similar to put the paste onto your canvas, let it dry, and it dries quite quickly into a hard consistency, so you can actually create whatever surface and texture you want to achieve in the end. Which I have never done before in acrylic pouring, but I found the concept quite interesting if it works out. I suspect though that it will not work out, but we will find out on the go when the video progresses. And the second thing that I want to test out is this new awesome copper acrylic paint. And it is awesome to me because it is a metallic paint and I really love this brand of metallic paints. I have used the blues and the golds before, which really looked awesome, and this is the copper. I also used some sienna in gold acrylic paint along with some black and white, and I only use the red colors very rarely because I feel I really suck at it. And as copper is some kind of reddish tone, reddish brown something, I never used it before. I have used red in some of my pours before, but I never was so stunned about the effect that I achieved. Perhaps red is just not my color to use, I don't know. I really prefer the blue ones, probably because I prefer blue over the red. But I was curious to try, and as a spoiler, I really love the result. So do not wonder about the white that I'm using. Normally I also use the Artina paint of the white, but I just recently came across a local brand from Bösner, which is a local or a German art store brand. And they have quite cheap acrylic paint as well, and just for the pouring I wanted to try this as well. This is a 2-liter bucket of white acrylic paint for about 9 euros something, I guess, which is really cheap. And I wanted to try if this acrylic paint can hold the stress of acrylic pouring, so to speak. And I want to see if it works, if it flakes, if something strange happens to the color, and I'm still not sure this color is the very best to use after having done all the projects. The smaller ones work perfectly. The larger canvases cracked in some parts, which I was not sure if it was based on a mixture, the thickness, or if it was caused by the white paint. I'm not sure yet, but I will test with it a bit further and let you know once I know. So, having all this said, I just mixed my paint and basically went for it. It is my usual mixture that I'm going to use all the time, which is about 2 parts float will, 1 part of the paint, and if needed a bit of water. Just as usual to make it to the consistency of honey, so that the stream running from your stick is like an even stream, so no blobs nor drippings. So this is almost the consistency that I'm going for. Sometimes I do not really hit the perfect consistency, so it's a bit too thick or a bit too runny. This also happens to me, of course, as you have seen my failures as well if you've watched other videos of mine. This is not so much of a deal if we have colors which are thinner and thicker in the very same pour. It just creates that the thicker paint is not running that much and the thinner paint is running a bit more across the canvas. So this is an effect that you can play with if you like to. I normally want to have all the colors in a way the same thickness, just as it makes it easier to spread the color around and to create some effects that you're going to create, as you know how the paint is behaving in a way. After the paint was mixed, I just had to prep my canvas, and therefore I just used the acrylic modeling paste, a palette knife, and made a somewhat texture on the surface. I want to have somewhat like the surface of Mars texture thingy because of the color palette that I'm going to use. I wasn't really sure how to create this because, yeah, I just didn't know. I had a photo of Mars laying next to me when I did it, but basically I just decided to make some texture like mountains or something, as I really was not sure how the end result is going to look like, and before I spend too much time creating a special texture look, which will fail in the very end, I thought just make some texture and see what's going on. And so I did. I made my mountains or whatever you see into it and let it dry, and it only took a couple of minutes. It did not really have to be completely solid dried because the paint will not react so much with it. So it just was dry to the touch, it was solid, and I just started to pour. I wanted to do some kind of dirty pour, as I usually start with, and I really was curious what is going to happen with the paint. So I layered up my paint into the cup and poured it over my canvas. And as usual, when you've done this, you're going to start spreading the paint around, which was the tricky part that I was expecting to happen. Along of these mountain barriers, the paint of course did not come over that easy as it should have done. So it flew in a different direction than I wanted it to flow. And there was no way to get it over the mountain evenly. So after having spreaded the paint around, it intermixed too much and it created weird shapes. And as you can see in the video, it does not really look that pretty after all. I don't know if you have this feeling as well, if you have made some artwork like the acrylic pours and you look at it and you instantly don't like it, which happened to me this time. I need to change it. So sometimes I have the motivation to play a bit around with it just to create a better piece in a way. I expected something different and not so much intermixing colors, so I decided to swipe it. I was again not sure if this works because of the texture, but I suspected it to perhaps look a bit better in the end. So I swiped it, which was not the easiest thing because of the texture that was added. If I had a really thick layer of paint, which was about to cover all the mountains, the swipe would have been easier, but there was not enough paint to cover the mountains completely when the paint was wet. So I basically crushed against the mountains when I was swiping, which again caused some kind of stop and go lines within the painting. But at least it had a more even look than in the very beginning when I just poured it over and spread the paint around. So I was not really stunned by the result. But I did not want to waste it right away, so I decided to let it dry, just in case some colors dry much darker than you can see here, or some color dry much lighter than you see here, just to get a bit more of contrast within. So I put it aside, let it dry, and as I had, as usual, so much paint left, I decided to go on with this color palette and just grabbed 4 smaller 20 by 20 centimeter canvases and just ran on pouring. And as I was in experimenting mood, as I'm always am as it feels. I just put them next to each other to create a larger 40 by 40 canvas made of 20 by 20 canvases. Yeah, and poured over them. I want to try if I can create somewhat fitting together look of all of them, which afterwards I realized is not a thing that will work so much for pouring when you have to spread the paint around. If I would have used a swipe technique or something, I could have made it to look like one piece, but not in the way I did it. So, but I really was happy about the end result that I'm created here. So I just poured the paint over, spread it around, used the torch to bring up some cells, as we usually do with the acrylic pours. And if not, you can see it here what I'm doing. And if you by any means do have any questions, please leave them below in the comments. As usual, I will be very happy to assist you, to help you. And yeah, if not, just chatting with you. And after all, I really liked how these small ones came out. I liked the composition that happened to appear. And I really liked the colors. I love the copper. It is a really awesome color, and in real life it's even a bit more beautiful than you can see it here in the video. I will add some photos of the final results in the very end, where I have tried to match the colors to my originals. But yeah, as usual, when you do some digital work, if I try to match the colors here on my computer, it might look completely different on your computer. But as you have watched the whole video on your computer, you can in a way reference how it looks in difference. So yeah, And that's it for the pouring tutorial part. I have again filmed the end result live, so I will put it behind this video and say goodbye. And here comes the end result. And here we go with my maneuver critique for my copper color palette. And as you can see, this one did not really turn out that pretty. So it was really hard to create a pour because of the texture that I've put onto it. So bottom line, it did not really work as I intended to. And although it looks kind of pretty when it's dry having the structure, the entire design layout is not really pretty. So bottom line for me, I'm not going to try this again for an acrylic pouring having structure or texture onto it. I will of course experiment a bit more with texture and resin once I have all the equipment that I'm intended to use. But the other small ones really turned out great. And these are here. This is the first one. I really like it. I now fell in love with this color palette. I also like the copper, which I liked before, but the reddish color palette was never my favorite. But this really is cute. Same as this one here. I really love this. I cannot say which one I love the most of them. I really like all the four of them, so equally. I hope you can see it. I will make a photo of them and post a photo as well at the end of this video here, so that you can see the actual real colors of them. Next one, I really like that it's divided into half, so a light and a dark side. Like everything is divided into a light and a dark side, isn't it? But here the force was with me, and this really is super cute. I love it. And the last one, which I also like, is this one. Really turns out cool. I really like the contrast of the dark here and the light area here. It's just pretty. I really like it. I will use this color palette again with the copper and the gold and white and all these colors here. So at least not a fail. I will not use the texture again for acrylic pouring, but these are really pretty. I hope you like it. Please feel free to comment which one you like the most. Let's say 1, 2, 3, 4, whatever. And text me below in the comments. If you have any questions, color palette, wishes, requests, please also write me in the comments below. If you're new to my channel and liked what you've seen here in this video, liked what I've done, please make sure to subscribe. If you want to support my channel, please feel free to share this video with your friends. It really helps a lot as well. I will put these on my Etsy store the next day so that you can have a look at them if you would like to adopt some for yourself. If you want to know which products I've used, I've listed all these materials in my description box below as well with the Amazon links. It's to the German Amazon site. But if you're not European, you can of course check this on your own Amazon. And yeah, other than that, leave me comments and questions if you have any, and I look forward to see you in my next videos. Have a great day. Bye bye.